Welcome back to the Gamble Smart channel. Hope you guys are doing well out there. Today's a hot topic, and that is all about what could casinos do to control slot machines. Are they able to set when jackpots go off? Can they turn bonuses on and off? Can they set when progressives are going off? These are a lot of questions and comments that we get over the last couple of months, especially where people are convinced that casinos have a little bit more control than they're letting on to be. So we're actually going to go through each of these today, and I'm actually going to show you proof on this slot machine here on what it is that the casino can do to a slot machine to control its outcomes. Let's get into it. All right, as always, if you're new here, we want to welcome you to the Gamble Smart channel. If you like to find out behind the scenes information about how slot machines work, casino operations, licensing, regulations, all that fun stuff, budget control, this is the stuff that we talk about a lot on this channel. So we would welcome you to the family with a subscription. And if you end up liking this video at the end, we would love a thumbs up. All right, let's talk about slot machine control. What is it that a casino can do? So we're going to isolate this topic today on just class 3 regular RNG based slot machines. So what does that actually mean? So if you go to Vegas, you go to Atlantic City, any of the big hotel casinos, this is what you're typically going to find, a class 3 machine. These are your top dollars, your pinballs, your Huff and Puffs, all those games. Most of those are going to be class 3. Now there are a lot of other ones that we cover in other videos on this channel, like VLTs, HHR, class 2, bingo, that kind of stuff. But today we're just talking about class 3 because it's the overwhelming #1 type of gaming machine that you're going to find inside of a casino. So let's just focus on that today and talk a little bit about what it is that the casino can do to a slot machine. So whenever a manufacturer produces a slot machine, they give the casino a few options on what to do to control the outcomes of the machine. And the only thing that they can really do is to set a theoretical payback percentage. And what this is essentially is what this machine is expected to pay out over millions of spins. That is the only setting that a casino has. And we're going to look at it here in just a second. But it's not also just a slider from 0% to 100%. It's bound by a lot of things: jurisdiction, state agreements and controls, such as minimums and maximums, things like that. All those things take into account what the casino is going to actually be able to set the machine to. And not only that, a lot of the slot manufacturers, irregardless of what the state law is, they typically do not produce any games lower than 83%. I've had thousands of machines come through here that I've repaired and worked on, and I have never seen one set lower than 83%. So just try to keep that in mind as we're going through this. So what I'm going to do is show you the settings in here, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the myths that people think and why that is certainly not true. All right, so before we go and look at the screen in here when it comes to the different payback percentage options, which is what a casino has control over, there are a few rules that need to go into effect before a casino can even think about doing this. Number one is all state or tribal gaming has to be fully aware of any type of change on a slot machine other than simple things like volume control or putting it out of service. So if they plan to change the payback percentage or change the game theme or even change which denominations are available, state or tribal gaming has to be fully aware. There's documentation that has to be done, and they have to be witness to this change. Now, there has been some advances in technology where most of the older, like smaller casinos, basically the state or tribal gaming representative would come out and actually watch a slot technician make these changes to verify that it's being done exactly like the paperwork was submitted, right? There are some future advances, some of the larger casinos, especially on the Strip, like your Aria, your Cosmos, where they can do it remotely now without physical access to the machine, but a state gaming representative still has to be there to witness the change through like a remote connection and stuff like that. So the kind of the summary to all that is that there's no unauthorized changes allowed. So what I'm about to show you with the payback percentage change is the only thing a casino can do to manipulate the outcomes of the game. That's it. So all you people out there that think player's card matters, or that they can go in here and set a time of day, or they can set a certain number of jackpots to hit per day, per hour, per weekend, whatever, progressives, turn them off, turn them on. All of those things are completely false. That is not something that casinos have control over. They can't do that. And that's by design, because I hate to use the word fair because people get really upset with that. But all of that is by design so that every single person that presses the spin button has a fair and equal chance of getting the result as everybody else in the casino. Okay? So it doesn't matter who you are. that you're playing, how long you've been playing, how much cash you put in. All of that is irrelevant because every single time you push that button, it's a random event, okay? So let's talk about making the change here. I'm gonna actually show you what is required. So first off, no credits can be on the machine. So feel comfortable if you're playing a machine, there's nothing that could possibly happen, right? The second thing is let's say that you did cash out. When could they make that change? Well, in most jurisdictions, especially in Nevada, it would require a 4-minute idle time, meaning that the machine is not in use for 4 minutes. And then if they did want to do remote change, if there was a casino like that was set up, they have to show some kind of indication that a configuration has changed so the player is aware something is going on. But again, this does not happen frequently. In fact, you'll probably never see this because they do not go through payback percentage changes very often, if at all. If any casino is going to do it, maybe annually, quarterly, something like that, but it's not what you think. They're not doing it because they know they're having a big weekend coming up, because that's such a short sample size that it's not going to make a big difference for them or the player. They're talking about the long game. All right, well, enough of that. We've done videos on that topic if you really want to look into that. We're talking about what casinos can actually do. So I'm going to go ahead and open the machine here. And what we're going to look at here is I'm going to basically put a special USB key in that is going to allow me to make these changes. So I'm going to unseal the machine. I do not have locks. This is my lock, a zip tie, because locks are removed by the casinos. So we do not have access to the locks. The state gaming and casinos operate that. So I'm going to put my special USB key in here, which is basically an elevated key that tells the machine I need to go into the configuration mode. All right, so we're going to take a look here. And I'm not going to be able to roll through all of these menus because there's some proprietary stuff in there, but I'm going to show you the game configuration. Okay, so right here, Spitfire Triple Red Hot 7s, that's the game thing that's installed. I can go to configure games here. I had some other games installed on here as well, but if we go to just the Spitfire Red Hot 7s, so what you're looking at here is I can go, let's see, I think I had quarter, dollar, 5, and 10 set up, or maybe it was 2, I don't know, it doesn't matter. But over here, look at the payback percentages. So this is what is allowed or available on this game. And look at this. Did you guys notice something already? The lowest payback percentage possible on this game is 92%. So they can't even go even lower than that. Now this is kind of uncommon. Most games go a little bit lower than that, especially the penny style games. But for this particular game, 92% is the lowest that the manufacturer even offers to the casino. And it kind of goes up, 93, 94, 96, 97. Of course, I have this at home use, so I've got it set at the highest at 98.17, right? This is it, guys. This is all the casino can do, is go in here and set the theoretical payback percentage. And what this is, and we've done videos on this, this is a long-term statistic. After millions of spins, it will reach about this RTP setting that is on here, okay? That's it, guys. No jackpot turnoff, no timer, none of that stuff is in here. You can't do any of that stuff. They can't target you or target a specific time or a specific machine to do what it is that they will. And they wouldn't even care to do that. It would take an amazing amount of micromanagement to do that. And then people would start complaining that some people seem to be getting preferential treatment than others, right? Those patterns would start to arise, but those do not exist because all that a casino can do is set this and let the RNG do its job, and that's it. All right, so again, this is kind of behind the scenes of what a casino looks at whenever they're setting payback percentages, and that's all. All right, I know what you're probably saying, but Mark, I have witnessed something totally different. So-and-so happened. I put my card in, I hit a jackpot. As soon as I start taking my card out, I don't hit a jackpot, or the other way around. Seems like every time I use my card, I don't win anything. We've heard both sides of that, and why do you think that is? It's because it's randomness. You're going to get stuff on both sides all the time. One of the things that we talk about a lot on this channel is the psychological effect of pattern recognition. This is something that us as humans are always dealing with in everyday life. We are pattern seekers. That's what we do. We are not random number generator seekers. We have a very hard time comprehending that concept, right? But what we are good at is identifying patterns. And slot machines are really good at throwing you some things that make you think something else is going on, okay? I just showed you that the only thing a casino can do is to change the payback percentage. But you start to think something is weird. How many times have you heard this? Oh, the entire casino goes dead. Nobody's winning anything. Or the other way around. Everybody's hitting hand pays all of a sudden. Casinos must be controlling that. Guys, I can tell you with 100% certainty that is not what's going on. It's purely coincidental. You will see swings like that. And plus, how do you know how everybody else in the casino is doing? Can you really keep an eye on everybody's credit meter the entire time? I seriously doubt it. But just try to keep in mind, as much as you think that casinos have full control over a slot machine to do as it will, setting progressives or whatever, they don't have that level of control. And that's on purpose. And you better believe that state and tribal gaming is all over them for that stuff. They can't do that. And the manufacturers can't even build it anyway. Manufacturers don't even build the capability of doing some of those things into the slot machine at all. And that's tested by third parties. So I hear you, I understand. I know that you've seen things that seem to explain this another way. I get that. And you're free to come up with whatever opinions that you want. Some of you guys I'll never be able to convince otherwise. But I just showed you something on the back end that we as SWAT technicians see. And this is the fact. This is what goes on inside of casinos. They set the payback percentage and then they leave it alone. That's it. They're going to make money on that thing. Even at 97%, 3% of a machine that's just sitting there and people come up and play it and they don't have to really do anything but maybe clean it out every 6 months. Some casinos don't even do that. But, that's all they have to do and they're making money. It's really simple. They don't need to micromanage it. They're going to make money on it anyway because it's planned out that way. All right, guys, so I hope you learned something a little bit. Let me know in the comments if you really still believe that something else is going on. Let us know in the comments, and I'll do my best to try to answer and maybe pitch it in a different way that will make it seem a little bit more clear. We really want you to have the right information, and I understand that casinos and slot manufacturers are not very transparent on this. We're trying to change that because we feel like if you really know what's going on, then you may feel a little bit more comfortable walking into a casino because you know that there are protections in place and that the casino is not manipulating any kind of outcome for any individual person or time of day or anything like that, because we think that's important to have, right? All right, guys, I hope you learned something today. Really appreciate your time. As always, gamble smart, gamble safe. I'm Mark, and we'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.